Those who make peaceful revolution impossible will make violent revolution inevitable.
Revolution.
First, what is a revolution?
Revolution is the solution, hey.
The motive of a revolution.
Well, now,
the objective of a revolution.
be televised.
And the result of a revolution. And the methods used in a revolution.
I know you know. Put my gun away. Never gonna put my gun away. Put my gun away. See the mob, you better run away.
This generation of Americans has already had enough, more than enough, of war and hate and oppression.
Hello, Internet. How is everyone? This lovely Thursday evening, got a weekday stream. I don't do too many of these. I'm going to try and do one once a week from now on. Again, I said this after Charlie Kirk got shot. I need to do more streams because I started looking at how hard he worked and how many hours that he had to put into it and how much little sleep that he got. And I just looked at myself and I'm like, I'm not working hard enough. I can't use the excuse that I'm working all day and then coming home, putting together the stream, doing the stream, going back and cutting clips and all that crap. It's just so much work. No, it's not. It's not a tenth of how hard Charlie worked. So that's why I'm here. That's why I'm here on a weeknight to talk shit about Gavin Newsom and all the crazy things going on in California, because there's plenty of them. And I need to do way more California streams because it's not a day goes by that there isn't some other shenanigans coming out of this state that we could talk about. And there's no shortage of them tonight. So, we'll get right into it. Let me jump in the chat, see who's here. Probably don't have my usual crowd here because wow, chat is dead. If you guys are here, drop a comment in the chat, say hi, helps my self-esteem, all that kind of stuff. I got Trump calling out San Francisco as sort of my headline for tonight because I've been saying it for a while. Trump needs to come at the Bay Area. I mean, geez, if Trump sent ICE to Watsonville, man, they'd be pretty busy. They'd have a busy year ahead of them. There's I don't know if that's what he's targeting San Francisco about, but let's go right over to him and see why he is going to be targeting San Francisco, because I'm sure interested to hear what he has to say. I imagine it's immigration stuff, but it's also, lawlessness and drugs and homelessness and all that stuff. So, I mean, I'll say that I'm not a huge fan of the whole, brown shirts asking for papers, and I do support mass deportations, but I wanted to go about it in the right way. Problem is, I knew that wasn't going to happen. I would much rather them go after the welfare state California's created with all their sanctuary state policies, incentivizing illegal immigrants to come specifically to California and other sanctuary states and cities, and pull that safety net out from under them and get a lot more people to self-deport, going after the criminals first. However, you're not going to hear a peep out of me about them going around and being heavy-handed, because this is the situation that Democrats created with their sanctuary state policies. And you got asked, isn't this what they wanted? Didn't they want to, boost their census numbers to get more congressional seats, hopefully down the line make it socially acceptable for illegal immigrants to vote? And then when big bad Trump goes and starts deporting people, they can point at him and say, look at the fascist. Got to think that was part of the plan all along. So I think it was, but let's see what Trump has to say, because he's going after San Francisco, apparently. So let's see. Josh Pitts, what's up, man? How much you think Newsom makes in kickbacks from the cartels? I've been saying it for a while. These judges too. The way that, there's that clip from Chesa Boudin from 3-4 years ago, when Chesa Boudin is the former district attorney of San Francisco before Brooke Jenkins took over for him after he got recalled. And he's doing an interview with somebody, and he essentially said that they need to allow the cartel drug members, cartel drug dealers to keep dealing on the streets of San Francisco, because if they don't and keep sending that money back home, they're going to go after their families back in Honduras. They call them the Hondos out there in San Francisco. Everybody knows who they are. Everybody can identify them, but for some reason they're allowed to just operate with impunity. If they get arrested, they'll get a slap on the wrist. They'll be back out on the streets doing the same thing the next day. It's truly impressive. It's you got to ask how many of these judges, cops, DA people, freaking DEA people do they got on the payrolls? Yeah, I wonder if they're giving Gavin a discount on his blow. I don't know. We'll see. All right, let's get into this clip from Trump, seeing why he's going to go after San Francisco. This is from Roz Alerts. Get back in the screen I want here. You guys, let me know if I have audio issues as well. If I have audio issues with my mic, or if I have audio issues with any of the clips themselves. Last week I was having an echo issue with the videos, and I didn't realize it until I was already done streaming. So, all right, folks. This from Roz Alerts says, breaking: President Trump has revealed that San Francisco, California is next on his list of cities to clean up, as he has announced plans to deploy federal agents to address the city's rising crime. He described San Francisco as a mess, adding that he has local support and that the city should be the next target for intervention. He made the comment to FBI Director Kash Patel, stating, "Now it's a mess, and we have great support in San Francisco. I'd like to recommend that for your next group." All right, let's see. So he's talking about the FBI. He's talking about the FBI targeting San Francisco. So I don't know if they're talking about targeting drug dealers. I mean, yeah, he's not talking about ICE. So that's interesting. If they deployed ICE to the Bay Area, they would be extremely busy, just as busy as they are in LA, maybe just a little more spread out. But, all right, let's see what they have to say here.
I talked about crime, but I never knew that we were going to get into it like we did. I used to watch these cities with the murders. Chicago recently had one deal where they had 11 murders in one weekend, and they said, well, yeah, but it was a holiday weekend. They actually told me that was the reason. Like it was okay because it was a holiday. It was Labor Day. These people are the worst. They really have to. They better. I tell you what, the people in Chicago and the people in places like that can be fixed. At some point, it gets to where you can't fix it anymore. It's too far gone. And we have some cities like that. But these are great cities that can be fixed. I'm going to be strongly recommending, at the request of government officials, which is always nice, that you start looking at San Francisco. I think we can make San Francisco. There's one of our great cities 10 years ago, 15 years ago. Now it's a mess. And we have great support in San Francisco. So I'd like to recommend that for inclusion, maybe in your.
It's funny. Gavin Newsom reposted this video, and he said San Francisco used to be great 10, 15 years ago. And Gavin Newsom was was mayor of San Francisco back then. And he's like, oh, thanks. It's like, trying to be funny. But the thing is, why would you be proud of the situation that San Francisco's in now while it was good when you got in office? Clearly, that's when it started to go downhill. And, the track record in office, I believe he's mayor of San Francisco for 8 years. Then he was lieutenant governor for I think he was lieutenant governor for 8 years. And then he became governor, and he's on his, 7th year? So I don't know. It's clear to see that California has gone down the same path as San Francisco. California as a whole, same way. All the cities, all the major cities. San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose is actually not that bad. That's because we got a mayor over there that disagrees with Gavin all the time, and he actually does crack down on crime. You don't see, crazy drug dealers all over the place. The homeless problem's always been bad in San Francisco or in San Jose, but it hasn't seemed to have gotten much worse in the last 10 years. I could be wrong about that. Maybe I'm not visiting the right parts, but Oakland, Sacramento, LA, obviously, plenty other cities in California that have just become absolute hellholes for the most part. All right, let's keep going here. So this is Gavin went on this podcast and he was actually getting some pushback. It was interesting. So this is don't know what podcast this is on. I need to check because I got like 3 clips from it, and I should be giving them a shout out because they seem to have done a decent job. And I pulled this clip up second because it was sort of going viral today. So let's listen to Gavin Newsom get questioned about AIPAC, and you guys tell me if he seems like he was comfortable here. Moji Girl rocks. Moji Girl rocks. Hey Trump, come on down. Yeah, no, he's welcome. He won't be welcomed by a lot of people in San Francisco, but a lot of people in California will be happy to see him deploy. I don't know what his plan is, though. He was kind of vague there. I don't know if he's planning on actually deploying. Oh man, it's doing this again. Sorry, I need to stop sharing and go back. I think I need to update my Brave browser here. All right, let's go back to this. Jeez, I hate when it does that. All right, let's listen to this clip of Gavin getting asked about AIPAC contributions, and tell me if he seems comfortable to you. Tell me if you have audio as well, because I just got a notification that my audio may not be playing properly.
Interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting.
I will not vote for a candidate that takes $1 from AIPAC.
It's interesting. I mean, it's interesting. I haven't thought about AIPAC, and it's interesting. You're like the first to bring up AIPAC in years, which is interesting. Why did I say that? Not relevant to my day-to-day life.
Okay.
Which is just interesting.
Listen,
It's interesting you say that. JPAC perhaps more, but AIPAC less and less.
Okay, fair enough.
Which is just interesting.
What's
Yeah.
interesting about it?
That it's just interesting as you bring up AIPAC that it hasn't been part of. I'm just reflecting quite openly and honestly. Hasn't been part of the day-to-day.
Yeah. The only reason why I ask is because with that, what I'm talking about is lobbying in and of itself.
It's interesting. It's interesting, you guys. You got what you guys
like the first to bring up.
What you guys think it's interesting? Northside over on Rumble. Nice to see you. Did you guys have audio on that? Please let me know if audio wasn't playing for any reason or if it stops playing in any of the next clips. So I think he said interesting 13 times right there. And you can see how clearly uncomfortable he was because, I mean, he's in a pickle. You don't hear Gavin talk about the Israel situation too much. And there's a reason for that. It's his Democrat base has completely gone against Israel. The Democrat base is like 90% against Israel and everything that they're doing in Gaza. They're against AIPAC money. You see Rogan with this whole no AIPAC money campaign going. You're seeing other politicians that are running saying that they're returning AIPAC money, that they're not going to take AIPAC money. It has become a stain on people's reputation, especially in the Democrat Party. So he can't ostracize his base by saying or by taking AIPAC money or speaking good about Israel, but he also can't say anything negative about Israel because then he's going to lose that support, which is very important to any future campaigns, especially when he's going to be running for president. And the reason he said AIPAC isn't so prevalent in what he's doing because they don't really contribute to state campaigns. They don't contribute to governor, attorney general, state legislature positions. That's JPAC. JPAC's different. They're the ones that are more local. So ironically, he mentions AIPAC there 13 times, but he also mentioned JPAC, interestingly. And next day, after actually, I think this came out first. So Gavin is he signed some new legislation. So this is from AF Post. This is Nick Fuentes thing, I believe. That's America First Post. But I verified it's true. This bill that they passed, I pulled up the bill text and read through it. Governor Gavin Newsom has signed legislation making California the first state in the nation to establish a statewide anti-Semitism prevention coordinator to oversee all K-12 public schools. This measure was driven by the Jewish Public Affairs Committee of California, JPAC, a robust lobbying network often described as the state-level counterpart to AIPAC. And like what I said, so they lobby politicians at the state level governors, mayors, state legislators, state senate, state assembly, all that stuff. And it's funny. It's funny that came up. So this is from JPAC themselves. They had a press release. All right, so this is from JPAC's website. It says Governor Newsom signs landmark bill to counter anti-Semitism in California K-12 schools. It doesn't matter who's sponsored by. Sacramento, California. Today, Governor Gavin Newsom signed Assembly Bill 715, which I read through the entire text. I was going to do it on air, but it's just too boring. But there were some things that stuck out to me. Anyway, today, Governor Gavin Newsom signed Assembly Bill 715 into law, groundbreaking legislation to counter anti-Semitism in California's K-12 public schools, authored by Assemblyman Rick Chavez Zabur. Why does that name sound familiar? He did something shady in the past that I talked about on this show. Now it's going to bug me. And Dawn Addis, sponsored by the Jewish Public Affairs Committee of California, JPAC, backed by 72 Jewish organizations statewide, and principally co-authored by the chairs of the Jewish, Black, Latino, and AAP legislative caucuses. AB 715 received broad bipartisan support in the legislature. Bipartisan support, what a shocker. Passing the Assembly 71-0 and Senate 35-0. So nobody voted against this. Interesting, right? Republicans and Democrats all 100% in line. Even though there's a Democrat supermajority in the Assembly and in the state Senate, no California Republicans voted against this. Interesting to note there. It's a little strange, isn't it? It's weird. The legislation makes California the first state in the nation to establish a statewide anti-Semitism prevention coordinator, creates an Office of Civil Rights to house the coordinator, and adopts comprehensive safeguards for Jewish students facing anti-Semitism in the classroom. So that's the thing, is what are they going to call anti-Semitism in the classroom? California teachers, being ultra liberal and very free Palestine, like, is that going to be considered anti-Semitism if you say free Palestine in the classroom if you're a teacher? And reading through the bill text, it looks like they can do a lot to teachers that decide to speak out against this. We'll keep going. Today is a historic day for California's Jewish community, for every child who has ever felt unsafe, unseen, or unwelcome at school, said JPAC Executive Director David Bacarsley. By signing AB 715, Gavin Newsom has sent a clear and powerful message. Anti-Semitism, like all forms of hate, has no place in our public schools, period. This law is more than policy. It is a promise that Jewish children, their families, and all students deserve a great public education in classrooms free from hate discrimination. We are profoundly grateful to the governor for our legislative champions and the diverse coalition of partners from every corner of California who made this victory possible. Okay, we'll keep going. I'll reserve my comments for later. AB 715 strengthens protections against anti-Semitism and all forms of discrimination in the K through 12 education by ensuring that schools are free from bullying, harassment, and discrimination. Don't they already do that? Giving schools the tools to identify, respond to, prevent, and counter anti-Semitism. So that, right? Giving schools the tools to identify, respond to, and prevent and counter anti-Semitism. To identify. So they're going to teach the teachers how to identify anti-Semitism. They're going to teach the school officials how to identify possible anti-Semitism from the teachers. I wonder if free Palestine or anything like that, or even saying that Israel's doing an ethnic cleansing in Gaza. Will that be considered anti-Semitism? Okay. Creating an anti-Semitism prevention coordinator to train educators and school leaders about anti-Semitism, track incidents, advise on accountability measures, and recommend future legislation. And requiring an annual notification to all schools on the protections, requirements, and responsibilities in this bill. So every year they're going to get reminded about that. Governor Newsom also signed Senate Bill 48, companion legislation supported by JPAC and authored Senators Lena Gonzalez and Akila Weber Pearson, and Assembly members Mike Fong and Chris Ward. SB 48 creates additional positions within the new Office of Civil Rights. They got a brand new Office of Civil Rights, you guys. A religious discrimination prevention coordinator, a race and ethnicity discrimination prevention coordinator, a gender discrimination prevention coordinator, and an LGBTQ discrimination prevention coordinator. Aren't you guys so happy that they're finally cracking down all this in California? Because they haven't been doing anything about it before, right? AB 715's passage and signage come amid rising anti-Semitism across California and the nation. Reports of hate incidents targeting Jewish students in schools have grown in recent years, leaving many children vulnerable and unsupported. According to the California Department of Justice, anti-Jewish hate crimes in California tripled in the last decade, making Jews the second most targeted group despite compromising only 3% of the population. Many schools lack sufficient training, tools, and accountability to respond. Lev Rudderman, a Jewish student at San Lorenzo Valley High School in Santa Cruz County. So, ironically, I coached cross country at San Lorenzo Valley Middle School, which shares a campus with San Lorenzo Valley High School. So they said this person provided critical testimony. This is a student, provided critical testimony to a Senate Education Committee in support of the bill on September 10th. Rudderman shared a heart-wrenching story of anti-Semitic hate he faced as a high school freshman last year, in which another student taped a Nazi flag to Rudderman's back without his knowledge. Another stayed silent, took pictures, and laughed as he unwittingly walked around the school. The school failed to take any meaningful action. Did the kids even know, the kids that taped a Nazi flag to his backpack, did they even know he was Jewish? They probably didn't. They're probably completely ignorant to that. But let's say they did know. Okay, yeah, that's bad. Like so what is this bill going to do? Does students should be expelled, or like what's their proposed punishment for this? Ella Miller, a Jewish student at Santa Clara County, testified in front of Assembly Education Committee on December 12th. She shared a similar devastating experience of being targeted, isolated, and harassed by her peers after the Hamas attack on October 7th. Miller shared that classmates whom she previously considered friends began calling her the Jew and saying that her family were murderers and that all Jews are terrorists. Miller's parents were eventually forced to remove her from public school system when the school failed to take any action to protect her. Yeah, I mean, that's definitely not cool. It's definitely not cool to start calling someone the Jew. I mean, I call my friend Eric the Jew all the time, and he doesn't mind, but we're friends, so that's a little different. I don't tell him his family are murderers, though. But we'll keep going. Miller's parents were eventually forced to remove her. Oh yeah, you read that. So JPAC's executive director David Bocarsley also testified on behalf of the support coalition at the Assembly Education Committee hearing on May 14th and the Senate Appropriations Committee hearing on September 11th. The 72 Jewish organizations to support AB 715 is the largest coalition of Jewish organizations to ever support a California bill. With Governor Newsom's signature today, AB 715 will take effect on January 1st, 2026. So I read through the bill text, and basically there's a lot of different jargon of, in this situation, you need to identify anti-Semitism as defined, and then they don't define it. So it's very loosely written on what anti-Semitism is. And there's language in the bill that talks about textbooks, like introducing any new literature to the classroom. It has to go through like this approved committee here to make sure that they're not introducing any anti-Semitic literature, you know. So this bill to me seems like it is geared towards making sure that teachers are staying on track in terms of portraying Israel as the good guys and Palestine as the bad guys. That's what this bill seems like to me. So that's just my thoughts on it. If you guys disagree with me, let me know in the comments. Let me know what you guys think about it in the comments. Hop in the chat. Check over. No, Northside, I'm not doing a 24-hour stream. I can't do it. Maybe one day I will. I'll just sleep. I'll just go live and sleep. Probably won't be that cool. I'll just put it on my dog. It's actually not a bad idea. Just do a stream while I'm away at work that just follows my dog around. I think people would actually watch that. Probably more people that watch this. All right, let's keep going here. So, okay, I already read that. All right, let's switch gears here. So, not only are they going after San Francisco, they are going after the homeless industrial complex in California, Los Angeles specifically. So, Mr. U.S. Attorney General Bir Asali, I can never pronounce his name, announces California Democrats mishandled millions of federal tax dollars meant for homeless housing. If you're a Californian, you already know this. They couldn't find, over a 5-year period, they couldn't tell you where $24 billion, billion with a B, they couldn't tell you where the money went. They couldn't tell you what it was spent on. They couldn't tell you how it was accounted for. They just couldn't tell you. And, you know, you've got these, they're always talking about building affordable housing, the state using tax dollars to build affordable housing. And then the housing they build always ends up being sky rises. And the units they build in them are not affordable. They have all sorts of extra amenities that are not needed for low income housing, you know, like fancy coffee shops and all. It's always a boondoggle. And then they give these no bid contracts to companies that are within trade unions to donate to their campaigns. And it's this whole circle jerk of money laundering. And it's frustrating because it's like right out in the open. Everybody knows what's going on, but for some reason, the powers that be won't investigate into this stuff and find out exactly what money's changing hands, where it's going. I like that they're going after these guys here, but they're not going after any of these politicians. I want a smoking gun showing money going back into politicians' pockets. That's what I want to see personally. So let's listen to our California Attorney General. Wait, U.S. Attorney General. Sorry. Yeah, let's just do and talk about this.
Epidemic. California state officials failed to provide meaningful oversight over the individuals who received most of these funds, and they had little to no answers to the public's demand for accountability. Well, that accountability starts today. Today, we are announcing significant developments into our investigation. We're making public 2 criminal cases relating to 2 separate real estate developers who were involved in misappropriating millions of state funds intended to combat homelessness. This morning, federal agents arrested Cody Holmes, a 31-year-old Beverly Hills resident and the former CFO of Shangri-La Industries, a downtown LA-based developer of affordable housing, for defrauding the Home Key program that is administered by the state of California.
The Home Key program, you may have heard Gavin Newsom bragging about this program a lot in the last few years.
Program awarded grant money, which included federal tax dollars, for specific projects to convert motels into housing for the homeless and to operate the units. By April of 2022, Shangri-La Industries, where Holmes was the CFO, had co-applied with multiple California cities to convert numerous properties in California, including a location in Thousand Oaks. The state asked for proof that the company had the financial capacity to build all the projects. In response, Holmes and Shangri-La knowingly submitted fake bank statements, which claimed to show that developer had about $160 million on deposit. Not only were the bank statements fake, our investigation shows that Shangri-La and its affiliates had nowhere near the amount of money they claimed they had in the fake bank statements.
So this seems just super lazy and obvious and easy to find to me. If they're not covering their tracks at all, I mean, these are obvious fake bank statements. Why can't they find any of this money that gets funneled back into these politicians' pockets or back into their nonprofits that they set up? Why is it so hard to find this information? There's so much fraud and waste going on in California with the high-speed rail debacle, the homeless industrial complex, the soon-to-be offshore wind project that they're going to be doing out in Morro Bay and up in Northern California. Why can't we find where all this money goes? Oh, Scarlett's stopping by to say hi. Wally World's not in here, though, so you want to say hi, Scarlett? All right. Oh, I'm sorry. This is Scarlett. She's the star of the show. So say hi, everybody. Okay, can you go lay down? All right, let's keep going.
The state agency ultimately paid nearly $26 million directly to the developer for the Thousand Oaks project. Even though the developer received all the money from the state, the developer did not complete the construction of the Thousand Oaks project. Instead, our investigation has showed that at least $2.2 million was diverted to pay Mr. Holmes's American Express bill, which includes purchases at luxury retailers. Essentially, he stole the money.
Why did it take the federal government coming in to find this? Because the people that are supposed to be looking for it within the state of California aren't looking for it because they're in on the scam. I mean, really, you're just going to divert $2 million from it and directly pay off your bill, not trying to cover your tracks at all, not laundering it through other nonprofit organizations or whatever. This just seems like, with how long they've gotten away with these money laundering operations, these pay-to-play schemes, I bet some people have gotten pretty lazy, including people in the California government. I want people prosecuted. I want politicians prosecuted for this shit because it's every year and it's billions of dollars and it's our money. California doesn't have a money printing machine. So this is actual tax dollars going towards this. This is taking money directly out of our pockets and putting it directly into their pockets. It is Ron Paul's definition of theft. It's out of control. It's absolutely out of control in California. So this is a separate thing. I believe this is a separate thing, but this is this is from KTLA. This is 13 LA County employees charged with stealing over $400,000 in unemployment benefits. So yeah, this is a completely separate thing. So you've got the homeless industrial complex, fraud, money laundering, waste, abuse, all that stuff. And then you've got the unemployment benefit shit. So you guys remember back when COVID started, they're giving everybody like $2,000 every 2 weeks. So it was like $4,000 a month. And there was tons of fraudulent unemployment applications created, tons of unemployment dollars that just went out the window. Granted, there was a lot of this that, they got funding from the federal government, so that wasn't directly California taxpayers, but it's all the same. It's still the California government laundering and stealing money. All right, so this is from KTLA, a very left-wing, pro-Gavin Newsom, pro-Democrat organization. So let's see what they have to say about this. The Los Angeles County District Attorney's Office has charged 13 county employees from 7 different departments with felony grand theft for allegedly stealing a total of $437,383 in state unemployment benefits between 2020 and 2023. Each of the employees faces a maximum of 3 years in state prison if convicted, officials say. So these are actual, state employees. This is progress. The defendants were charged with 1 felony count of grand theft and 1 lesser included misdemeanor offense. According to the Los Angeles District Attorney's Office, the employees submitted fraudulent claims to the California Employment Development Department while continuing to collect their county salaries. The claims allegedly included false statements under penalty of perjury that they earned less than $600 a week, when in fact they were paid more and were therefore ineligible for unemployment benefits. So this is their own name. They use their own name. Again, this is just super lazy. They're not trying to cover their tracks at all. It's like somebody barely looked. They barely looked into it and found it. Imagine if they really dug deep into who is really stealing money. Like, this is just people like, yeah, I'm on unemployment. They work for the government. They work for the county of Los Angeles. It's very easy to see that they're not on, that they're getting paid by the state or the county And at the same time, they're taking state unemployment benefits. It's $437,000 though over a 3-year period. How'd they get that much money? Los Angeles County District Attorney Nathan J. Hawkman emphasized the breach of public trust. When a civil servant steals from the government, that trust is broken, he said. Most egregiously, these individuals allegedly claimed to be unemployed during the COVID pandemic when millions of Californians were legitimately in need of unemployment benefits. If you steal from taxpayers, you will be prosecuted. Start with Gavin Newsom. Like, enough. Start with Karen Bass. I'm sick of this shit. Okay. The county auditor controller, Oscar Valdez, called the alleged fraud particularly egregious, noting that most of the county employees serve the public honestly. For the few who hail to live up to that standard and violate the public trust, we work with our partners, particularly the Los Angeles County District Attorney, to ensure they are held accountable, he said. The defendants worked in various roles across the country, including eligibility workers, social workers, administrative managers, and security staff. Specific allegations include, I don't even want to go into the allegations. Anna Agmalin, Administrative Services Manager, Justice Care and Opportunity Department, $37,800 in alleged unemployment fraud arraignment. Okay, so she stole. They just claimed unemployment benefits, and then they got paid these benefits. So she got paid $37,000. Then you've got Aurora Lopez Bautista, eligibility worker, Department of Public Affairs and Social Services. She got about $9,000. Jessica Antonio Chandler, children's social worker, Department of Children and Family Services, $48,900. So like that's just, they must have claimed benefits for the entire year. Chandra Kamiko Tisdale, children's social worker, $57,900. Case filed for warrant. Oh, they put a warrant out for arrest. Kelly Collins, eligibility supervisor, Department of Public Social Services, $56,400. Case filed for warrant. Okay. Other employees named include Derek Anthony Kayea, Donisha Nicole Brumfeld, Ivan Jacob Mariscal, Mary Teresa Thomas, Raquel Martinez Alvarez, Shalita Voyala Hamal, Tony Therese Pittman, and Ann. Okay, whatever. Arraignments for these cases are scheduled throughout November, with one defendant already pleading not guilty in September. Okay. The county said public and private employers in Los Angeles lost an estimated $10 billion pandemic-era unemployment development fraud. So there's people that don't even live in California. There's people that are outside of the country that were getting unemployment benefits from California. They just approve, and just started sending out checks. This whole thing was a massive boondoggle. So I would wager that this is just the tip of the iceberg, and these were the low-hanging fruit. There's probably like, okay, so this is just unemployment benefits. Let's talk about the PPP loans. Remember the loans where if you had a company with a certain amount of employees, if you kept them all employed, you could apply for these loans, and you just didn't have to pay them back. The loans were forgiven. A bunch of people created fake companies, and I bet you there were some people that were very good at creating these fictitious companies. Maybe they even created a shell company, fictitious social security numbers, offices, telephone number, email addresses, website, and collected massive amount of money from I bet this is just the tip of the iceberg, and they're just going after the low-hanging fruit here because people want to see heads roll, so they're going to go after the people at the bottom of the totem pole here. This is nothing. This is nothing at all. Keep going. Okay, so this is from Eric Doherty. He says, breaking, outrage is erupting after Los Angeles County declares an emergency and announces rent relief for people who supposedly fall behind on payments because of immigration raids. So rent relief for illegal immigrants. That's what I heard. Let's see. This is from Channel 7, ABC Channel 7 Eyewitness News. A local state of emergency can also funnel state money for legal aid and other services per AP. Okay, let's see. This is like a 20-second clip.
Lake County has declared a state of emergency over the immigration raids. The Board of Supervisors voted today. Board members say the raids are preventing people from going to work and forcing some businesses to close. The emergency allows the board to look at enacting an eviction moratorium and other protections for people impacted by the raids. And this news just coming into our newsroom will, of course, continue to follow it. Lake County.
So, okay, so people aren't going to work because they're scared of the raids. People aren't going to work because they're scared they're going to get deported. Okay, so these are illegal immigrants and you're going to give them rent relief. All right. So another, to me, it seems like a much more effective way of doing this would be for the federal government to go after companies that are employing illegal immigrants by saying, if you employ illegal immigrants, we're going to give you these massive fines. You're not going to get this license renewed, that license renewed. You're not going to be able to get insurance, all sorts of threats to these companies. If we find out that you got illegal immigrants on your books, we're basically going to shut your ass down. This seems to me like a much better way of ensuring that people self-deport. So like, I don't understand why there's not more effort being put into that. Why does my dog have to sit right on my feet? Why are you there? Why are you right there? Honestly. Sorry. It's federal government goes after illegal immigrants. California says, we're going to protect you and give you money towards your rent. Like, it's very clearly they're bailing out illegal immigrants and giving them California taxpayer dollars to pay their rent because they're scared to go to work illegally. Okay. This is just such a giant mess. If you guys are watching, drop a comment in the chat, give it a like, share it, all that good stuff. Keep going. I'm only going to try to go for about an hour here. I might go a little bit over, but I'm trying to only go for an hour. All right, this was interesting. I thought I should talk about it. This is also from Channel 7 Eyewitness News. This is, they say, cartels issuing bounties of up to $50,000 for hits on ICE and CBP agents. So let's see what they have to say here. I guess we'll play the clip as well. It's only a few seconds.
The Department of Homeland Security says Mexican drug cartels have put a bounty on ICE and Border Protection officers in Chicago. The department says the cartels are offering thousands of dollars for those who gather information on federal officials and their families, and even more money for kidnapping or assassinating high-ranking officials. Homeland Security Secretary Kristi Noem says she's stepping up security for federal agents.
We're getting
Interesting. Okay. Read the article. There's credible intelligence that members of the Mexican drug cartels have offered a tiered bounty system for hits against immigration and customs enforcement and U.S. Customs and Border Protection officers, according to the Department of Homeland Security. You're seeing over in Chicago, you're seeing all these people ramming the ICE vehicles and the DHS vehicles. I wonder if that has anything to do with this, because they're offering, so the federal agency alleges cartels are offering $2,000 for intelligence gathering and doxing of agents, $5,000 and $10,000 for kidnapping or non-lethal assaults on standard ICE CBP officers, and up to $50,000 for the assassination of high-ranking officials. This is according to Kristi Noem. So I'm not saying it's fake, but I mean, yeah, where are they? I would like to know what their source is on this. I guess they probably got sources within the cartels telling them shit. That's crazy. They're offering $2,000 for intelligence gathering on doxing of agents. They basically just did this whole news article they just did here is basically an advertisement for the cartels. Federal agency alleges cartels are offering up to $2,000 for intelligence gathering. You can contact the cartels here. Like, that's all they didn't do, is tell people how to contact the cartels to give them intelligence on and doxing of agents. $5 or $10,000 for kidnapping or non-lethal assaults on standard ICE and CBP officers, and up to $50,000 for the assassination of high-ranking officials. Gangs like the Latin Kings have also deployed spotters armed with firearms and radio communications to provide real-time movements of CBP and ICE agents, according to DHS. These criminal networks are not just resisting the rule of law, they're waging an organized campaign of terror against the brave men and women who protect our borders and communities, DHS Secretary Kristi Noem said in a press release. And then Gavin Newsom's out here like, why are you guys so scared of showing your face? Why won't you guys show your face? And then it comes out that the cartels are offering money to find out who these agents are. Interesting. Our agents are facing ambushes, drone surveillance, and death threats, all because they dare to enforce the laws passed by Congress, Noem added. We will not back down from these threats, and every criminal, terrorist, and illegal alien will face American justice. The DHS report came amid a legal battle surrounding the deployment of National Guard troops in Chicago, in part as protection for immigration enforcement officers and facilities. Last week, District Judge April Perry temporarily blocked the deployment of troops from any U.S. state into Illinois, a ruling that will be in effect for 14 days. In the decision, Perry determined that there is no credible evidence that there is a danger of rebellion in Illinois, and no evidence that the president is unable with the regular forces to execute the laws of the U.S. Okay. All right, keep going here. That's crazy. Cartels offering money for hits and kidnappings. That's fucking crazy. That's yeah. So we might see things escalate on this front. Pete Grabber, hello, nice to see you. Glad you're here. Keep going here. This is from Wall Street Apes, and he says Gavin Newsom interview makes it clear what Democrats will do if they ever gain power. They say Democrats' historic unpopularity comes as their voters hating Trump and Republicans, and the Democrats didn't arrest enough people. They will arrest everyone next time. All right, he's just quoting him here, so I'll play the video. It's a minute of Gavin Newsom talking. Try not to puke in your mouth.
Feel like our party is in better shape or worse shape? Are we finding our voice? Is this shutdown in a perverse sense helpful in terms of just organizing that voice and the clarity of what's at stake?
All right, well, I'm going to turn that question back around on you too. But I mean, the polling would not tell you that our party is in good shape today. I mean, we are historically unpopular. And part of that is just, people expressing their frustration about Trump's lawlessness through their indictment of the opposition that they would hope could have arrested more of it. But yeah, he's giving us an opportunity, right? He has been exposed as a fake populist, right? He is simply operationalizing government to steal from poor people, cut their healthcare to enrich himself. And so that really commands us to try to figure out why we've lost so many votes amongst poor people in this country, because they're now questioning whether this guy is actually righteous, whether this guy actually is looking out for them, but they're not ready to vote for Democrats.
I had a post going kind of bonkers the other day because I talked about how California is ready to flip red. And I hate playing that Democrat Republican two-party binary thing. When I say flip red, I just mean that California is tired of Democrat rule. And I can't stand California Republicans. I think they're feckless. They roll over. They're spineless for the most part. I mean, even like the best ones, like Kevin Kiley, I've had major issues with some of the bills that he's been part of. Excuse me. And I don't have a lot of trust in the California Republican Party to make any meaningful change either. And it's similar to the whole backing Trump thing. It's a sign that people are fed up with the status quo. And in California, the Democrat Party represents the status quo. And it was like, it's deep blue. They're never going to flip red. And when you judge about voting registration, how many Democrats there are to registered Republicans, yes, it's deep blue. But I think Democrats even are ready to vote in the other direction. And in a way, Trump still being president is sort of hindering this thing in California because everybody's so tied up with their Trump derangement syndrome. I'm not saying it's Trump's fault. I'm saying that people have turned Trump into such a boogeyman that they can't vote for anybody that's associated with him. So that's like the biggest hangup for Californian Democrats is they somehow in their brain associated voting for a Republican as voting for Donald Trump, when obviously Donald Trump can't run California. You get my point. So I think California is ready to turn the page on Democrats. It's just we haven't offered them a good alternative. I mean, you've got Chad Bianco and Steve Hilton running, and I have issues with both of them. I like Steve Hilton, but I was unaware that is his wife like a huge is she really high up in Netflix or something like that? I need to look more into Steve Hilton. It does bother me that he has dual citizenship. I mean, if I'm going to have problem with people in Congress being dual citizens of Israel, I have to have the same problem with a California governor being a dual citizen of the UK. You know, how can you be California first if you have dual citizenship? So I would actually go as far to say like, hey, if you want to be governor of California, you have to get rid of your citizenship to the United Kingdom. You can no longer be a citizen there. That would be kind of my demand. And Chad Bianco to me just seems like another freaking neocon. So I'm not really down with him either. And the rest of the California GOP is not much more impressive to me because I'm a libertarian, and being a libertarian means that you're never going to have somebody that truly represents your political stances in office, really. I mean, the closest thing we got to it is Thomas Massey, and he is very libertarian. Thomas Massey is my favorite politician, if there's such a thing. You know, you got guys like Rand Paul, Kevin Kiley's not bad, but yeah, you're not going to see somebody from the Libertarian Party being the governor of California anytime soon, at least. All right, let's keep going here. So this is another story from KTLA, and this one says Trump to withhold $40 million from California over English requirements for truckers. I was going to talk about this last episode. This is kind of crazy to me. So how can you be a trucker in the United States if you can't speak and read English? I mean, there's road signs and shit, and when you drop stuff off, you have to be able to communicate with the people that you're dropping stuff off to. Anyway, there's like no name requirements on IDs. This shit's crazy. So Trump says he's going to withhold $40 million. All right, let's read the article. So the Trump administration plans to withhold more than $40 million in grant funding originally earmarked for California after it claimed the state refused to enforce English proficiency standards for commercial truckers. On Wednesday, Transportation Secretary Sean Duffy said the Federal Motor Carrier Safety Administration would withhold $40.68 million from the state, which would likely have been used to help pay for law enforcement training, roadside inspections, traffic enforcement, and safety audits of trucking companies. The decision, according to Duffy, was made after an investigation found that California has failed to comply with the DOT's recent enacted English proficiency standards. There's a quote from him. I put states on notice this summer, enforce the Trump administration's English language requirements, or the checks stop coming, Duffy said in a news release, adding that California is the only state that has not complied with the edict. What a shocker. In April, President Trump signed an executive order that directed authorities to strictly enforce English proficiency standards among truckers to ensure they are able to read and understand traffic signs, communicate with traffic safety, border patrol, agricultural checkpoints, and cargo weight limit station officers. Weeks later, Duffy's DOT added a new wrinkle to those federal regulations requiring any commercial vehicle driver who fails to meet the English proficiency standard to be placed out of service, which takes the driver and their truck off the roadway until any violations or defects can be remedied. According to the online trucker publication Overdrive, while English proficiency standards has long been a federal requirement for truckers, a violation has not automatically led to a driver being placed out of service for a decade. Weeks after Duffy instituted those changes, a California Highway Patrol spokesperson told Overdrive that it would not be enforcing those out of service requirements because it is not the law in California to remove a driver from the road if they violate English proficiency standards. Okay, fine. Then people shipping stuff out of California, CHP is not going to, they're just not going to reach their destination if they're interstate truckers. I mean, this is why the CHP gets anything that they want as well from Gavin Newsom. This is why they always get the funding they need. They are Gavin Newsom's favorite police enforcement or law enforcement agency is the California Highway Patrol. I mean, it really bothers me that they do everything that they can to not only not enforce the laws, but go against these laws that are, I mean, these are safety things, and they're just not going to enforce them because it's not state law. Yeah, Gavin told us not to. Like that's what I heard here. We're not going to enforce them because Gavin told us not to. This is valuable money that should be going to the great men and women in California law enforcement who we support, Duffy said. California Governor Gavin Newsom insistence on obstructing federal laws has tied my hands. Duffy said the grant funding would remain withheld until the state decides to adopt and actively enforce the English proficiency standards set by federal government. After Duffy's announcement, Newsom's office fired back, stating that California existing rules and requirements have proven to be more effective than comparable states. How? Sounds like the federal Secretary of Transportation needs a lesson on his own road rules, said the governor, Deputy Director of Communications, Diana Crofts Paleo. The facts are plain and simple. California commercial driver's license holders had a fatal crash rate of nearly 40% lower than the national average. Texas, the only state with more commercial holders, has a rate of almost 50% higher than California. That's what they always do too. They lie or obfuscate the facts through these statistics that they always come up with. They always pull these statistics out of their ass that nobody can fact check right there on the spot. They're just like, oh, our drivers are actually better, even though they can't read road signs or communicate with law enforcement or the people that they're transporting goods to. It's always the same gaslighting and bullshit gobbledygook. It's infuriating. In a September letter to the DOT addressed from the California State Transportation Agency, state officials denied that the state has not complied with English proficiency requirements, citing the rigorous process to become a licensed commercial vehicle driver in the state, which it said was more than sufficient. The state's entire testing process is conducted exclusively in English with help from an interpreter. Prohibited. Specific language in the Department of Motor Vehicles licensing requirements specify drivers must understand English used in traffic signs. And officials said that the state has adopted the most recent out-of-service criteria by the Commercial Vehicle Safety Alliance. Facts don't lie, but the Trump administration sure does, Croft Paleo concluded. To read okay. So they memorize these different traffic signs to pass the test, and then boom, here's your license. You don't need to put your name on it, though, either. Okay. All right. You say so. You guys make of it what you will. But another Gavin says Trump's lying. Trump says Gavin's lying. It's like, which one is it? It's frustrating. All right. Another video of Gavin talking. Again, try not to throw up in your mouth. This is from the Joe Rogan podcast news. It says, Gavin Newsom responds to Joe Rogan's criticisms. I think there's a California derangement syndrome. They're trying to coin that phrase, by the way. California derangement syndrome. Remember, like they had, they always tried to do this when Biden was president. They tried to like coin new phrases, kind of like the woke right. They're trying to make the woke right. I think Scarlett, I think my dog is over there puking in the corner. Really, Scarlett? You guys, my dog is having an emergency. Scarlett, are you okay? Okay, that was gross. I apologize. You don't get that on other shows. You don't get dogs puking in the background. Okay. So, yeah, they're trying to coin this phrase, California derangement syndrome, queuing off of Trump derangement syndrome. And Gavin Newsom's been saying it over and over, hoping it'll stick in people's heads. Then you guys will start getting told that you have California derangement syndrome in your comments very soon. This will start happening all over the place by all these California bot farms that they're using. Just mark my word, you'll be told that you have California derangement syndrome if you criticize Gavin Newsom and the California government. This is definitely going to happen. This is a clip from, oh my God, Scarlett, really? Oh my God. Okay, let's listen to Gavin Newsom talk here.
I think there's a California derangement syndrome, and he's part of it. I mean, I think people are obsessed with focusing on what's wrong with the state and not what's right with the state. I mean, you have more scientists, engineers, more researchers, more Nobel laureates in the state than any other state in the nation. We're the fourth largest economy in the world, $4.1 trillion. We're the finest system of higher education that addresses the issue of equity better than any other public education system in the world.
What does equity mean, Gavin? It sounds like equality, but I don't think it means equality, does it?
We dominate in every category, name it. We're the biggest manufacturing state, biggest farming state, ranchers and hunting jobs, which is
everything he just mentioned is despite him, not because of him. And all of that stuff is getting worse because of overregulation and Gavin Newsom's idiotic policies.
Interesting. We dominate in AI and quantum and fusion in every key category. The quality of life here.
Fusion? Aren't you shutting down nuclear plants? Like, what are you talking about with fusion?
Consistently, and you look at the top 10 cities in the United States of America, consistently, the top 5 are identified in the state of California, and we invent the future. It happens here first, where America's coming attraction. What I think doesn't attract people that tend to be on the spectrum of his politics is our diversity. We're the most diverse state in the world's most diverse democracy. We're a majority minority state. 27% of this state is foreign born, and that offends a lot of people.
And a lot of them are not United States citizens. And you've created a social safety net, so they are encouraged to come here and get paid by taxpayers, essentially, get free health care, getting rent vouchers because they're scared to go to work, the illegal immigrants, because they don't want to get deported. It's insane. It's insane how he brags about the very things that we're getting criticized over. It's incredible. Let's go over to Charlie Kirk's Ghost. How much do you love grifting? Keep going. You'll make millions off shills like me. I believe that was directed at Gavin Newsom. Oh, no, it wasn't. I think this is a troll guy. Yeah. Hi, Charlie Kirk's Ghost. Hope you're having a good one. Hope Gavin Newsom's paying you well. All right. Let's read this article from SF Gate. This is a Newsom vetoes bill that could have saved Californians $550 million per year, and this is regarding energy costs. All right, this one's not too long, I don't think, so I should be able to get through it in, I don't know, 5 minutes or so. In August of 2020, thousands of Californians endured rolling blackouts due to extreme heat that stressed the state's energy grid. Since then, efforts to prevent energy shutoffs like these have intensified, particularly in the face of increasing extreme weather events resulting from climate change. They always have to put that in there. Extreme weather events resulting from climate change. Every time. But one viable growing solution just took a major hit after Gavin Newsom vetoed a number of bills that would have expanded California's ability to grow its virtual power plant system. Virtual power plants, or VPPs, are exactly what they sound like. Instead of drawing power from traditional power plants that exist in a static location, VPPs generate power across a variety of sources from various locations, including rooftop solar panels, home batteries with smart thermostats, public utilities, and private companies manage these energy resources, and consumers can get compensation for participating and sending energy back to the grid. Hundreds of thousands of residents and commercial businesses in California already have power sources like solar panels and home batteries, but putting them to use as a part of VPP by participating in a program like Sunrun, CalReady, or Tesla California VPP has been slow going. Efforts to expand these programs, which could potentially cut costs for consumers and prevent blackouts, ground to a halt early this month when Newsom vetoed 3 energy bills related to significant bipartisan legislative support. The bills, Assembly Bill 44, 740, and Senate Bill 541, would each have expanded the state's ability to build VPPs by requiring the California Energy Commission to create a plan to do so. further study how much these home energy resources could add to grid capacity and better forecast how much energy the state needs. All were throttled, mostly citing potential fiscal impacts. Fiscal impacts. So what I'm getting from this is you've got tons of companies like Intel, for example. They're at least one campus that I know of has all of their parking lots are covered with car covers, and on top are solar panels, and they power those buildings. Well, a lot of the times those buildings aren't in use, right? And those could be pumped back into the grid. The buildings aren't drawing as much power as the solar panels are generating. So that power could be pumped back into the grid. Well, what would that do to, the coal burning energy companies that are out there charging us 35 cents a kilowatt hour or whatever it is? There would be an increase in energy supply, so they wouldn't be able to charge as much. More supply, it's simple economics there. More energy that they have, the less they can charge. So why would they want extra energy being pumped back into the grid? It's going to cost PG&E money. PG&E, who donates heavily to California's politicians all the time. Critics of Newsom's decision blame the potential hits these bills could have had on utility companies' profits. PG&E has made sizable donations to Newsom. It's like, I didn't read this article before I said all that. Critics of Newsom's decision blame potential hits these bills could have on utility companies' profits. PG&E has made sizable donations to Newsom going back as far as 1998. Newsom did sign into law several policies that would regulate cost increases from PG&E. Southern California Edison and San Diego Gas and Electric in September as energy prices continued to rise across the state. So you put price caps on them. Okay. The average California consumer pays around twice the U.S. energy average for electricity, and costs are projected to continue growing. I support efforts to realize the potential of these energy resources, the governor wrote in his veto, but cited concerns about adding to the California Energy Commission's ongoing deficit. When asked for more information about alternative ways the governor plans to help the VPPs and how the administration plans to restore the potential bill-saving benefits from VPPs, Newsom officer responded via email. The governor's veto message speaks for itself. The blow to the narrow subset of energy markets comes after several years of proven promise. One market analysis showed that a fully implemented VPP system, an estimated 7,500 megawatts by 2035, could save California $550 million per year. Furthermore, participants in the program could earn up to $1,000 each year, many of whom are already adopting the energy-saving technologies that have multiple devices enrolled. The system could generate about 15% of peak demand, 5 times the current capacity. So it's like not only these companies that have solar panels in their parking lots, but homes that have solar panels, battery backups that could pump electricity back into the grid. We used to have these programs where the things were supposed to pay for themselves, and then the state stopped funding those programs. They're not even funding them. Stopped essentially allowing you to offset your electricity bill by pumping energy back into the grid. Okay, let's keep going. We're missing all these opportunities to build more reliable grid to save people money, said Ryan Sheetler, a spokesperson for the Climate Center, a nonprofit organization focused on climate solutions. And those things down the line have a real impact. One test event last summer showed the real impact VPPs could have on the grid. On July 29th, chosen for the peak summer season between 7 and 9 p.m., more than 100,000 residents' batteries added up to 535 megawatts of output, most from Sunrun batteries and Tesla Powerwalls as part of California's demand-side grid support program. That's comparable to a mid-sized power plant, a large hydro dam powering hundreds of thousands of homes while reducing the overall load on the grid. The demand-side grid support program, more than 265,000 participants with the ability to generate 515 megawatts of capacity, is one of the largest virtual power plants in the world. At least 300,000 more Californian households are in other virtual power plant programs. So, this actually sounds like a good idea to me. You take existing infrastructure that private homeowners, private business owners, corporations are implementing for their own uses, and then they have spare power that could be pumped back into the grid. That's great. That's That's the market at work right there. People are taking it upon themselves to offset their energy costs by building their own energy infrastructure. And then they're going to have leftover power, which could be pumped back into the grid, thereby reducing the overall cost of electricity for the rest of California. Great. It's not this state-funded boondoggle to build offshore windmills. Like, because I speak out so much about the green energy scam that's going on, this doesn't mean I'm anti-alternative energy. I like these things. I do think that there's a lot of downsides to solar and batteries. You know, a lot of like solar panels, when they go bad, when you can't use them anymore, you just got to bury them in the desert. Windmills, same thing. They don't last super long. And then the amount of petroleum that it takes to create the windmills doesn't even offset their life cycle. I'm not a huge fan of using state tax dollars to fund these programs, but I am a fan of letting the market explore alternate methods of generating electricity and taking it upon themselves to do it. Because then if people don't see a financial reason to do it, they're not going to do it. So when they do, you know, it's a viable solution instead of the state just jamming it down everybody's throats and saying this is what they're doing. So when the market actually comes up with the solution, the state quashes it because they can't make any money off of it. And then the PG&E people that freaking have them by the balls and fund their campaigns are like, nope, this is going to cut down on our profits. You guys can't do this. You see how this is working? They don't actually want green energy solutions. They want to make money. They want another money laundering operation scandal, just like the high-speed rail and the homeless industrial complex. That's what they want. They want the state to run these programs and build this infrastructure themselves so they can give no-bid contracts to unions that are going to funnel money back into their campaigns and their nonprofits that they set up. It's all a scam, all of it. And it drives me insane. Let's keep going with more Gavin Newsom stuff that makes me angry. Let's keep going here. Charlie Kirk's Ghost, you still there, man? Hope you're still watching. Gavin Newsom slams Joe Rogan and Elon Musk for fleeing California because it's outrageously high taxes. Okay, this is another clip from that same podcast I've been playing. This is from American AF. This clip's funny because, like, I'm surprised it hasn't been community noted, and we'll get into it in a minute and why.
California has a progressive tax structure. That's the real reason a lot of these folks left.
Right.
Come on, let's have this conversation.
Yeah.
They don't like progressive tax. They like regressive tax policy. Where's Rogan live? In one of the most regressive tax states in America.
Joe Rogan lives in Texas, where there's no state income tax.
That tax poor people more. Poor people are taxed more than the richest 1%.
Texans don't pay state income tax.
In Texas, places like Florida. That's what they celebrate. They promote. They are high tax states, but not for them.
Mm-hmm.
You can't claim California is a high tax state.
Yeah, I can. Highest state income tax, highest sales tax, highest gas taxes. Yeah, California is a high tax state. How has this not been community noted?
High tax for who? The 1%.
No.
Progressive tax state.
No.
Regressive taxes persist in these red states. But
if you make $100,000 in California, you get taxed like 35%. That's insane. That's insane to me. If you make over $1 million, you're getting taxed almost half your money. It's fucking insane.
Particularly these large red states. And I think that is a state of mind that also is something that I believe in and needs to be promoted in relationship to your question around wealth and income inequality. And I'll tell you, it was interesting. I had on my podcast, Steve Bannon, who was making a case. He didn't say the word California, but he sure as hell sounded like someone making the case for California's tax policy. Again, the same policy that Elon Musk and Rogan and all these guys decry and criticize.
Yeah. 13%. They're paying 13% on top of the 50% they're already paying federal income tax. Again, Texas has no state income tax. So I asked Grok, hey Grok, what is California's state income tax percentage versus Texas state income tax percentage? Let's see what Grok said. California's state income tax is progressive, ranging from 1% to 12.3% for most earners, plus a 1% mental health surcharge over 1 million. What is that? Effectively up to 13.3%. Texas imposes no state income tax on wages or salaries. This stark difference contributes to migration trends as high earners keep more in low state taxes like Texas. This is another reason why, like you guys, you sports ball fans out there, Dodger fans, 49er fans, Giants fans, any sports team in California, when they're trying to offer a bid for a player, they got to factor in 13% for that player. They have to go 13% higher in their bid to that player to get them to come to their team, because if they go to Texas, they're not paying state income tax. So like that's a huge factor. So sports ball fans should be against this too. I used to be a sports ball fan. I'm just not anymore. Let's keep going here. This is from Politico. Okay, I don't even want to talk about this too long. Gavin was making a huge thing about it today, like it's this giant deal. In a shot across Big Pharma's bow, California will now sell its own insulin. So, do I want to read this article? I might as well, whatever. Sacramento, California. California will start selling low-cost insulin in January, becoming the first state in the nation to bypass Big Pharma with its own supply of extensive diabetes drugs and marketing a notable win in Governor Gavin Newsom's push to rein in healthcare costs with state-branded drugs, taking control of the means of production. Okay. The insulin pens will be supplied through CalRx program, an initiative launched under Newsom, in which the state contracts with manufacturers to produce generic pharmaceuticals. The pens, which people with diabetes use to control the level of insulin in their bodies, will be used the same as other long-acting insulin on the market. They will come as a suggested fair price for consumers of no more than $55 per pack of 5, a significant discount from their current prices. Okay. Californians didn't wait for the pharmaceutical. You know what? I don't even want to read this article. You guys get it. Gavin Newsom is funding his own insulin production, and apparently he's going to make it cheaper. We'll see how this works out in the long run, because if the state is subsidizing it and they have to keep it below a certain dollar amount, when the companies can't make a profit off of that, the state has to basically give them that extra money, or why would the companies even be involved in this program? So that's all it is. It's just another freaking boondoggle. I don't know. I don't see this working out well. We'll see if it does. I'll give Gavin Newsom a kudos on this. So this is like about the No Kings protest stuff. All right. I'm already over time. So, okay, this is just a video I want to play. I'm not even going to read Libs of TikTok comment on here, but let's listen to Gavin talk about the No Kings protests coming up here. See what he has to say.
No Kings, a declaration of independence against the tyranny, against lawlessness, in the context that there was no rule of law. It was the rule of king. And I think increasingly people are waking up to the rule of law in this country, increasingly appearing to be the rule of Don. And I hope it's dawning on people how precious this moment is and what's at stake. And so I hope people put a stake in the ground, take the opportunity and time to participate this weekend. But again,
it's such word salad. You notice how he said the rule of dawn, and then I hope it's dawning on people, and then put a stake in the ground, and what's at stake? What is he doing? Like, so freaking frustrating. And what is this tyranny that he's speaking of? That they're actually trying to get illegal immigrants out of the country that weren't supposed to be here, that came here because you incentivized it with your welfare safety net, your sanctuary state policies. Meanwhile, let's roll back the clock 5 years. Remember when Gavin just shut down California for like 3 years after the rest of the country was completely open? And he tried to force vaccinations on kids. He tried to force vaccinations on all of us, state employees. Tons of small businesses shut down. That was much more tyrannical than anything that Trump has done so far.
Do so peacefully with a deep realization of the consequences and what the founding fathers were all about. No kings.
Oh, geez. Okay. All right. This is sort of in that same vein. This is also regarding the No Kings protests. So you guys, I don't know if you guys remember when I had this video, a clip from one of my episodes a year or two ago go viral, and it was about the Columbia University protests, the pro-Palestine protests. And you remember how everybody had the same tents and all that stuff, same picket signs, and all this stuff seemed to just appear overnight. And then I stumbled across the Rent a Riot. I don't want to disparage their good name because he was good enough to come on the show and talk about it. Adam something or other from, what was it? What is their organization called? I can't remember. It's this organization that essentially will supply you with protesters. They'll supply you with materials. You pay them, and they'll literally bring you the protest. Well, this is a video coming out of Oregon, Portland, and it just shows a U-Haul truck coming up and giving everybody the supplies they need to protest, essentially.
You have all this stuff that's getting dropped off right here. You have all the inflatables as well that the people have been protesting in. A little strange, they have a U-Haul shipment full of all the stuff that's apparently been taken away. So stuff's been coming in. There's still protesters out right now. It's like 4 p.m. right now, I believe. And the protesters are starting to show up here to the ICE facility in Portland. You have all this stuff that's getting dropped off.
Crowds on Demand. Crowds on Demand was the organization I'm speaking of. Now, I'm not saying that Crowds on Demand is funding this or part in this. I had a clip go viral that was just reading from Crowds on Demand's website, and the CEO, Adam, I can't remember his last name, nice dude, called me out and said that didn't have anything to do with us. I want to come on your show, and he like demanded an apology from me. They were like going back and forth on Twitter, but then he came on the show. We had a really nice conversation. He actually seems like a really nice guy. He's a distant runner too, so we actually kind of hit it off. But there's lots of organizations, like the Tides Foundation, the Open Society Foundation, George Soros Open Society Foundation, that fund all this kind of stuff. And I mean, to me, this is just trying to sow chaos. That's all they're trying to do, is just widen that left-right divide gap. And funny thing is, the Israel-Palestine stuff is the stuff that's making the right and the left start talking more and more. You got Tucker Carlson and Anna Kasparian having nice conversations together too. So this is like the last thing they want to see. All right, keep going. We're almost through this one. I'm a little bit over. I only wanted to go an hour, but we'll probably just go like an hour and a half here. So this is about the Prop 50 stuff. Yeah, this is the last thing I'll talk about here. So there's a lot of shenanigans going on with this Prop 50 stuff. You guys have seen the videos coming out of like Orange County and I think San Francisco County, where if you fold your ballot in a certain way and put it in the envelope, the holes in the ballots show if you voted no on Prop 50. Granted, you could just fold your ballot the other way, but still, if there's a small percentage of people that put their ballot in there where you can see that you voted no on 50, are those ballots really going to get counted, or are they just going to get thrown out? All the people counting these ballots or curing the ballots, verifying signatures to ballots, because we have universal mail-in ballots here. All these people are radical leftists, all of them that work in the county clerk's office, that work at the polling booths. The people that are actually curing and counting these ballots, they're not impartial. The vast majority of them. So there's a lot of shenanigans going on, again, with California elections. I go off on it every episode. California elections, in my opinion, YouTube, are rigged.
The election itself is proving controversial, and here's one reason why. In some counties, if you vote no, as many Republicans will, depending on how you insert the ballot in the envelope, people can see how you voted. That's because this hole lines up perfectly with a no vote.
My no vote is visible through this window in the envelope. Coincidence? Shady? Can it be sorted out?
I mean, mathematically, what are the chances of that happening on accident? Where the hole perfectly lines up with the little dot that you have to fill in? Like, what are the chances mathematically? Really?
It only takes a small percentage to have this go the other direction.
It really does make California voters wonder whether after they submit their envelope, is somebody going to do something with it on the processing side? And I think that's a legitimate question to ask.
So the state claims it doesn't know how many ballots are affected because counties print the envelopes. Shasta, Tulare, and Sacramento already have acknowledged the mistake and have told voters how to fix the problem.
Shasta, Tulare are both red counties. Sacramento is blue, but there are plenty of right wingers in Sacramento County. So it's strange that 2 of the 3 are red counties.
Problem.
You can actually fold it the opposite direction and have a blank page so that no one can see anything on your ballot envelope.
Well, it's a message that is being echoed now by the state GOP video that shows voters how to avoid the problem. Now, there's other problems in this election as well, Bill, and it's costing taxpayers nearly $300 million. The state mailed out the wrong redistricting map, requiring it to correct the mailer. The state also warned even if ballots are mailed on election day, they may not get counted because of slow mail. So why the holes in this envelope? Well, they say it's because blind voters need to know where to sign the envelope. So they touch these 2 and they'll sign here. It doesn't talk about how blind voters know where on this document, which box to fill in.
Isn't that interesting? Oh, the holes are so blind voters know where to sign the envelope. Okay. How do they know which one's yes and which one's no? Didn't they used to put Braille on there? I mean, what happened to Braille? There's no reason. There's no legitimate reason. This happened last election too. This happened in the 2024 election that you could see who you voted for in certain counties if you folded your ballot the correct way. So it's just interesting, isn't it? As Gavin would say it 13 times in one 1-minute clip. Interesting. It's interesting. All right. So this is from Sacramento Sheriff. So it's from the Sacramento Sheriff. Stolen election mail recovered at a homeless camp. Earlier today, Sheriff's East POP deputies were in the area of Elder Creek Road and Matthew Road to address a homeless encampment previously posted for cleanup. During the abatement, deputies located approximately 100 ballots and other election-related materials scattered among a large amount of mail. Deputies collected the mail, secured the ballots and election mail separately, then immediately returned them to the Sacramento County Department of Voter Registration and Elections for proper handling. The camp was vacant when deputies arrived, and no arrests have been made as of this posting. The investigation is ongoing, and if you have any information, please call 916-874-5115. So there's some pictures of it. So why were all these at a homeless encampment, you guys? Why? Like, what possible reason? So these look like they're filled out ballots put in the envelope, ready to be mailed back. Huh. I wonder if the ballots showed if it was filled out through that little hole. Very interesting. Very interesting. Lots of shenanigans going on. The holes in the envelope. They sent out the wrong redistricting maps, and now you're finding ballots at homeless encampments. Lots of shenanigans going on, you guys. They're putting lots of money into this, too. They can't afford to pay firefighters, but they sure can't afford to try to gerrymander the state. So, incredible. That's what I got, you guys. That's what I got for tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Didn't have a super active chat tonight because I'm streaming on a night that I don't normally stream. So I'm going to try and do an episode every Wednesday. Won't always happen on Wednesday. It might sometimes be on a Thursday, even a Friday. I will be here every Sunday night at 5 o'clock as usual. And hopefully I can get more consistent during the week so you guys will know when to tune in. Hopefully I can even start doing 3 streams at one point once I get in a better swing of things. All right, you guys, thank you so much for hanging out. I much appreciate you. Like, share, subscribe, all that good stuff. It really helps trying to grow my YouTube channel. So if you're not already subscribed over on YouTube, please go over there and do so. Same thing on Rumble. If you're not following me on X, please give me a follow over there. And before we get out of here, you know how we do it. Got to tell a joke from the greatest book ever written, The Truth About Chuck Norris. What do we have tonight? You know the rules. I pick a joke. I read it. Sometimes it's funny. Sometimes it's not. All right. Chuck Norris once entered a crossword puzzle contest. He won, and the word slent was added to the dictionaries as an acceptable synonym for smell. Slent. Slent. Synonym for smell. And on that note, folks, stay CaliBased.